Good morning. Happy Tuesday, happy Tuesday, happy Tuesday. Hope you're off to a great start to your day. Spend some time in prayer, meditation, Bible reading, Bible study. Yes, I know it's not the morning time. It is actually early evening, but hey, I stick with what I've been doing. You can't have too much change in your life. That would be just too strange, too strange. I know it's been a while, and I apologize for that, but I did want to get a short message out. I got some really heartfelt just feedback that touched me here from a young man in Iowa, and you know who you are. Truly appreciate that. I often said when I first started doing this, if I just reached one person, then my job is done. Of course, I'm going to keep doing this. I've got one. Let me go for two. I entitled today's episode "A Hodgepodge of Things." The takeaway is I hope you take what I say to heart. You may not like some of the things I'm getting ready to say, but I think they need to be said. A little bit on cheap grace versus costly grace, and where I'm going with this. Another Facebook friend sent me a link to a video on YouTube, and I since I got back from Tennessee, I don't watch the news as often as I used to, and I've been heavy into YouTube. I found like I said, a professor out of Florida, a seminary professor out of Florida, Dr. Ryan Reeves, and watching a lot of his stuff and just getting into the church history and that kind of thing. But I saw the thing across YouTube, and I didn't even look at it because I could tell right away that it was out there. It says, even Christians hate, and all you saw was John MacArthur's name, but it had like 4 or 5 other people in the picture. And I'm like, well, that's just stupid. And then my buddy posted a thing on Facebook and made some kind of comments. I said, "Now let me watch it." And I watched it last night, and I was just like, "Good Lord." Yeah, and I sent him a message back saying, no, most Christians don't hate John MacArthur or Paul Washer or all these other people that they mentioned. It's what we call the postmodern Christians, so-called Christians, the Christians that like cheap grace and not costly grace, the ones that want to believe that it's only the God of love and not the God of wrath. It's the Christians that only believe in heaven and don't believe in hell. Those are the people that I think will not like John MacArthur or Paul Washer or anybody else. If you have never watched Paul Washer's shocking video on YouTube, do a search on that. The best line is, I don't know why you're clapping, I'm talking about you. And the whole crowd just goes into a hush. I still have the message coming on cheap grace versus costly grace. But this is from Dietrich Bonhoeffer, The Cost of Discipleship. Bonhoeffer was murdered by Hitler a few weeks before the war ended, World War II. He says this: cheap grace is grace without discipleship, grace without the cross, grace without Jesus Christ, living and incarnate. Costly grace is the treasure hidden in the field. For the sake of it, a man will gladly go and sell all that he has. What does he mean by that? Remember the story about the rich young ruler who went to Jesus and was spouting off, I've done all this, I've kept all the commandments since I was young. What do I need for eternal life? I think that's what he said, asked for. What do I need to do? And Jesus said, go home, sell all your stuff, and follow me. And the young man just turned and walked away, saddened because he was rich. Costly grace is the gospel which must be sought again and again, the gift which must be asked for, the door at which a man must knock. Such grace is costly because it calls us to follow. And it is a grace because it calls us to follow Jesus Christ. It is costly because it costs man his life, and it is grace because it gives man the only true life. It is costly because it condemns sin, and grace because it justifies the sinner Above all, it is costly because it cost God the life of his son. It cost God the life of his son. The Bible does not change. These are God's words, whether you want to believe that or not. I urge you, if you don't have one, if you do read the Bible, if you do study the Bible, make sure you get either a Bible commentary or the Bible you're using is a study Bible. Take, for example, I had a discussion on Sunday with someone dealing with women and their roles in the church. And I read from 1 Timothy chapter 2. I think it starts around verse 8 or 9. I'll let you look it up. And they said, well, that's sexist. And I was saying, wait a minute, that's not my words. Those are not my words. Those are God's words. But the thing is, you can read that just as it is and take it out of context. You could take it as sexist. It's like a lot of people will cherry pick, oh, a woman must be submissive to the man. But they don't seem to talk about what Paul writes, or not Paul, but what Peter says to the man about his wife and how he is supposed to treat her. How he's supposed to put her right below God. Love her like you love yourself. They forget about that. Don't get me started on cherry picking. No, not to be rude, but you cannot do all things through Christ who strengthens you, or me. But that's for another message. So, think about things. The Bible is real. God is real. He gave his only son for us. You're bought with blood, his blood, costly blood. And I'll get more into this later this week. I may end up switching my messages to good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon versus good morning, good morning, good morning. But we'll see how that goes. Thank you for your time. I got my hair cut. Can you tell? Yeah. About time, Lotta said. It is trash day. So, Tio, Frank, if you're watching, I'll get the trash out tonight after I feed Winnie and Reagan. Thank you again for your time. DM me, email me, georgeschmtt@gmail.com, or DM me if you have any questions, comments, or you want me to talk about something in particular. I can do that. Love you guys. Appreciate it. Bye.